Hi, I'm Valerie Blair, Program Analyst and Training Manager for the Wyoming Department of Family Services. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an impact on every facet of our lives, and childcare is no exception. The closures of Wyoming schools and childcare facilities in March of 2020 emphasized the significance of childcare as an imperative component of economic stability. We recognize that the limited ability to access childcare services during the COVID-19 pandemic adds additional burdens on parents and families. The COVID-19 Child Care Relief Program has been established to assist Wyoming families with additional child care costs that have been incurred as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This program is not based on income eligibility. The following criteria must be met in order to access the COVID-19 Child Care Relief dollars. You must be a Wyoming resident and have a demonstrated increase in childcare expenses as a result of the COVID-19 childcare or school closures. Examples of increased childcare expenses include, but are not limited to, additional or unanticipated childcare expenses for children that would have otherwise been attending school, holding fees for children to secure slots at childcare facilities while they were closed, and additional care for children while parents and guardians are working, attending school, or attending training. This program is funded by the CARES, Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security dollars. It is subject to federal or state review, and you may be asked to provide documentation regarding the provided information if there is an audit. Maximum payments. For one child, the maximum payment is $700. For an assistance unit with 2 children, the maximum payment is $1,400. And for an assistance unit with 3 or more children, the maximum payment is $1,900. Please keep in mind that the funds are considered taxable. W-9 information is requested as part of the application, and recipients will receive a 1099 form at the beginning of 2021. In order to apply for this program, simply go to the childcarerelief.wyo.gov website, and I will walk you through the process of completing the application. Please enter your first name and your last name, your social security number, and your email address. Your phone number, your address, your county, city, state, and zip code. You will then be asked the number of children receiving childcare, and you can select that from the drop-down menu. For this example, we will say there are 3 children. And what the children's ages are. Please separate the ages with comma, but do not include a space between the comma and the next age. For example, we will say that this assistance unit has a 7-year-old, comma, no space, a 5-year-old, comma, and a 4-year-old. Entering a space will cause an error. You will then be asked to choose your federal tax classification for the W-9. We'll say individual. And your estimated household gross income. Simply select that from the drop-down menu again. Please input your primary child care provider's name, and if you had to obtain alternate child care, please enter that information here. Then you simply want to answer these 3 questions. Were you forced to find alternative childcare means due to unplanned closures of childcare facilities between March 13th, 2020 and the present date? Choose yes or no. Did you experience an increase in childcare costs between March 13th, 2020 and the present date? Yes. And were the additional expenses incurred necessary for the applicant to return to work, school, or training? Yes. Now we will enter our total childcare costs for the months of February through September. February was prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, so that would be your regular expense. For this example, we'll say the regular expense for this assistance unit is $500. Simply put in the dollar amount and not any change. If your daycare expense does include cents in that, round up or down accordingly. In March, what was that increased to based on the COVID-19 pandemic? We'll say it went up to $650, and in April, it went up to $700. For the remainder of the pandemic, childcare costs stayed at $700 for this. Okay, so you can see here that the difference between February and March was $150. That's the excess cost based on the COVID-19 pandemic. In April, the difference between the regular February daycare bill and the new increased bill was $200, and $200 for May, $200 for June, and so on. That brings us a total difference of $1,350. That's the total amount being requested to cover the increase in that childcare cost due to the COVID-19 pandemic. You will then be asked to certify and check this box that all information provided in this application and any supporting documents and forms are true and accurate, that you are only seeking amounts allowed by the COVID-19 Child Care Relief Program. You understand that all information submitted under the COVID-19 Child Care Relief Program is subject to the Wyoming Public Records Act and may be disclosed. Applicant will not discriminate against any person on the basis of age, color, disability, marital status, national origin, race, religion, or sex in the program or services for which the applicant is receiving CARES Act funds. Applicant is not engaged in any activity that is illegal under federal, state, or local law. Applicant understands that they may be subject to additional federal requirements, including single audit requirements, other audits, and other federal requirements. Applicant agrees to comply and assist in providing any requested documentation for an audit. Applicant is seeking this grant to reimburse only those child care expenses incurred as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Applicant is not seeking any amount in excess of the actual losses incurred as a result of COVID-19. All requested losses were incurred after March 13th, 2020. The funds will only be used for the allowed purposes under the grant, and any use of funds for unauthorized purposes may require a total or partial repayment of the grant funds. Funds received under the grant program must be claimed on the applicant's next federal income tax filing. You understand that knowingly making false statements on the COVID-19 Child Care Relief Program application may result in the state of Wyoming requiring total or partial repayment of the grant funds and may result in other penalties and fines. You further certify that the information provided in this application and the information provided in all supporting documents and forms is true and accurate in all material respects. You understand that knowingly making a false statement to obtain a grant is punishable under the law, including under 18 U.S.C. 1343 by imprisonment of not more than 30 years and or a fine of up to $1 million, or by imprisonment for not more than 10 years and a fine up to $10,000. You will check that you understand and acknowledge that by checking the box below, you are legally agreeing to all of the statements in this application, and select Submit. Please review the W-9 form to be sure that all of the information is accurate and spelled correctly. Your name, your filing status, your address, and your social security number. Once you have verified that information, you will hit Submit. If you need to make any corrections to that W-9 form, you can do that within this area. Your application has been completed, and submit. Thank you. If you have any further questions, You can go to the dfs.wyo.gov website or email dfs-childcarerelief@wyo.gov. You can also contact our help desk at 307-777-5819. Thank you and have a great day.